was woven to my specifications in Kerman, Iran. It's like walking on a feather mattress, isn't it? Carney and Foltz did not reply. There was so much splendor to appreciate. But they lifted their knees high, as though they were indeed walking on a feather mattress. Weems opened the ballroom door, a handsome door, actually, but its handsomeness was spoiled by a message whitewashed across its face. "Keep out," said the sign. Two coat hangers hung from the doorknob, tinkled tinnily as Weems opened and closed the door. The ballroom at the tower's top was circular. Around its walks, full-length mirrors alternated with ghastly leaded glass windows of purple, mustard, and green. The only furnishings were 3 bundles of newspapers tied up as though for a paper sale, 2 pieces of track from a toy train set, and the headboard of a brass bed. Weems didn't rhapsodize about the glories of the ballroom. He invited Carney and Foltz to give their full attention to the mirrors, which were real, and the play of mirrors on mirrors gave each mirror the aspect of a door leading to infinite perspectives of other doors. "Sort of like a railroad roundhouse, isn't it?" said Weems. "Look at all the possible routes of travel radiating from us, beckoning to us." He turned to Carney suddenly. "Which route attracts you most?" I don't know," said Carney. "Then I'll recommend one in a moment," said Weems. "It isn't a decision to be taken lightly because a person changes radically when he passes through a mirror. He or she, as the case may be. Handedness changes, of course. That's elementary. A right-handed person becomes left-handed and vice versa. But a person's personality changes too, and his future, his or her future, as the case may be." "The women we're looking for, they went through these mirrors?" said Foltz. "Yes, the women you're looking for, and about a dozen more you're not looking for besides," said Weems. "They came to me with the shapeless longings of widows with money, but without confidence, hope, irresistible beauty, or dreams. They had been to physicians and quacks of every sort before they came to me. They could describe neither their ailment nor the hoped-for cure. It was up to me to define both." "So what did you tell them?" said Foltz. "Couldn't you make a diagnosis on the basis of what I've told you?" said Weems. "It was their futures that were sick, and for sick futures," and he swept his hand at the seeming doors all around them, "I know only one cure." Weems shouted now, and then listened as though expecting faint replies. "Mrs. Cantwell! Mary!" he called. "Mrs. Forbes?" "Who's Mrs. Forbes?" said Foltz. "That is Mary Cantwell's new name on the other side of the glass," said Weems. "Names change when people go through?" said Foltz. "No, not necessarily," said Weems, "though a lot of people decide to change their names to go with their new futures, new personalities. In the case of Mary Cantwell, she married a man named Gordon Forbes a week after passing through." He smiled. "I was the best man, and in all modesty, I don't think anyone ever deserved the honor more." "You can go in and out of these mirrors any time you want?" said Foltz. "Certainly," said Weems. "Self-hypnosis, the easiest and commonest form of hypnosis." "I'd sure like a demonstration," said Foltz. "That's why I'm trying to call Mary, or one of the others, back," said Weems. "Hello? Hello? Can anybody hear me?" he shouted at the mirrors. "I thought maybe you'd go through a mirror for us," said Foltz. "It's a thing I don't care to do, really, except on very special occasions," said Weems. "Like Mary's wedding, like the Carter family's first anniversary on the other side." "The who family?" said Foltz. The Carter family, said Weems. George, Nancy, and their children, Eunice and Robert. He pointed over his shoulder at a mirror behind him. I put them all through that mirror there, 1.25 years ago. I thought you just specialized in rich widows, said Foltz. I thought that's what you specialized in, said Weems. That's all you asked about, rich widows. So you put a family through, too, said Foltz. Several of them, said Weems. I suppose you want the exact number. I can't give you that number off the top of my head. I'll have to check my files. They had bad futures, sick futures, said Foltz. These families you, put through. In terms of life on this side of the glass, said Weems. No, not really. But there were far better futures to be had on the other side. No danger of war, for one thing. A much lower cost of living for another. Said Foltz. And when they went through, they left all their money with you, right? They took it with them, said Weems, all of it, with the exception of my fee, which is a flat $100 a head. It's too bad they can't hear you yell, said Foltz. I'd sure like to talk to some of these people, hear about all the nice things that have been happening to them. Look in any mirror and see what a long, complicated corridor my voice has to carry down, said Weems. Guess it's up to you to put on the demonstration, then, said Foltz. I told you, said Weems, very uneasy now. I am very reluctant to do it. You're afraid the trick won't work, said Foltz. Oh, it'll work all right, said Weems. It's likely to work too well is all. If I get on the other side of the glass, I'm going to want to stay on the other side. I always do. Foltz laughed. If it's so heavenly on the other side, he said, what could keep you here? Weems closed his eyes, massaged the bridge of his nose. The same thing that makes you an excellent policeman, he said. He opened his eyes. A sense of duty. He did not smile. And what is it this duty of yours makes you do? Said Foltz. He asked the question mockingly. His air of being dazed, of being in Weems' power, had dropped away. Weems, seeing the transformation, became in turn a small and wretched man. It makes me stay here on this side, he said emptily, because I am the only one I know of who can help others pass through. He shook his head. You aren't hypnotized, are you? He said. Hell no, said Foltz, and neither is he. Carney relaxed, shuddered, smiled. If it makes you feel any better, said Foltz, taking his handcuffs from his hip pocket, it's a couple of brother hypnotists who are taking you in. That's how we got this assignment. Carney and I have both played with it some. Compared to you, we're mere amateurs, of course. Come on, Weems, Rumpelstiltskin. Hold out your wrist like a good boy. This was a trap, then? Said Weems. Right, said Foltz. We wanted to get you to talk, and you